My name is Christian Silvani, and on June 21st, 2020, my life changed forever. I was involved in a pretty serious motorcycle accident. I was supposed to be a double amputee. The doctors decided to keep my arm and my leg because of the physical condition that I was in before the accident. And from that day on, that's where the struggles began. Although the physical aspects of it were extremely hard and difficult, and I still go through them every day, the mental aspects were that much harder. The crazy thing about mental health is that when we experience physical pain, like back pain or knee pain, we tend to address it right away because it affects our daily lives directly. What we don't understand is that the most important organ in our body should not be neglected, and it should be addressed. But yet, we always tend to neglect it. As men, we're pre-programmed to suck it up, deal with it. There's harder things in life to deal with. There's stuff that we are programmed to react to certain situations, and it doesn't make it right. I used to be angry, frustrated, not patient all the time. When I would think about the way I would react to certain situations and to deal with certain people, I wouldn't like it, but I also wouldn't address it. And you keep moving forward because we have been predispositioned to these programs, these societal norms of suck it up, deal with it like a man. I think the biggest aspect of beginning to heal is communicating. And that is communicating with others and communicating with yourself. And I believe that that was my biggest issue. That I would begin to shut down. I would begin to internalize everything without understanding of what I was causing to other people. I think the biggest aspect to address the beginning stages of this mental health is communication. Now that communication involves communicating with others and communicating with yourselves. My particular issue was that I would shut down. I'd shut down from myself and my emotions and everybody else around me. I would think that I'd be shutting down in order to find solutions for the problem, but I'd be running away from them. And what I didn't understand is that when I came out of it, thinking that I found a solution, I didn't comprehend what I was doing to other people around me in that time that I was hiding myself from everybody. I reached a low point, the lowest point I've ever been in my life. I pushed people away that were there from the beginning. People that were going to be there regardless of the situation. And I now realize that I just wasn't ready for them to be there because I wasn't there. Everybody goes through stuff. Everybody has dark thoughts. Now I finally understand as to how quickly these things can escalate. So the classic response when you try to communicate with somebody is always, it could be worse. There's people worse off than you. But it doesn't always help you solve your problem. One saying that's really resonated with me during this entire process is that the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Whether it's getting into a motorcycle accident or whether it's stubbing your toe. The root feelings of whatever the problem is, they're all the same. It's how we deal with that. It's finding some little bit of motivation in order to push forward. And for a serious amount of time, I didn't know how to push forward. So how do you do that? You start off with very small wins. I would congratulate myself for getting out of bed. I'd pat myself on the back for taking a shower, for eating a meal. And slowly but surely, those wins start to accumulate. And you realize that there's reasons why to get up in the morning, why to progress. Now the gym has its physical benefits. Clearly it helped me physically progress in my recovery. You don't have to be recovering just from an injury though to see the benefits from the gym. Now with me, I've always had a problem with the idea of toxic masculinity and an ego. And what now I've approached the gym, or my new strategy in regards to the gym and approaching it, is that it teaches me how to control that toxic masculinity. And it's not always a bad thing, but there's a time and a place for an ego. What it does is it also keeps you humble. There's always going to be somebody that runs faster. There's always going to be somebody that lifts heavier weights. The problem is that you can't look at the comparison with somebody else. You need to compare yourself with who you were the day before. As long as you're positively progressing mentally and physically from who you were the day before, you're moving forward. My physical body now might come off to some people as toxic masculinity. But for me personally, it's a reminder of my mental progression. It's a reminder that I have progressed this far physically and pushed past these physical barriers. That all of these illusions in my head of anxiety and depression and insecurities is exactly what they are. They're illusions. And we just need to push through them. Besides the gym, another thing that has got me moving forward leaps and bounds is writing down my emotions, putting my thoughts on a piece of paper. And not only just putting them on a piece of paper and forgetting about them, reflecting on them at the end of every day. On the good days, I look back and I understand why I had a good day. But I also humble myself because I look back to the bad days. I understand why I had a bad day, and I also understand that it's constant work. And on the good days, they're fine and everything is okay, but the next day could be bad. That constant reminder reminds us that we're human. Everybody has issues. Nobody's life is perfect. As long as you're constantly aware of that aspect and put the work in, it won't be detrimental to your mental health. Now, both the gym and the journal writing have made me more introspective and reflective. And what that brought out is my true personality and my true self. And what I realized is that everybody wants the same things from life. Everybody just wants to be loved for who they are, and they just want to give genuine love. And if we were all a little bit more compassionate and a little bit more kind and a little bit more understanding, everybody would have a better life. Our quality of life would be better. Now when somebody walks across me on the street, I don't judge them because I don't know what they're dealing with up top. I don't know what struggles they've had in their lives. But if I'm more kind and compassionate towards them and have a better understanding of them, I'll end up having a better understanding with myself. If you know me personally, you know I'm not an attention seeker. I was actually very hesitant to make this video. I thought that my situation wasn't significant enough. But in order for me to progress in my mental health, I was watching videos of other people. I didn't gauge their significance of what happened to them. I looked for the root of how they pushed through in order to help me push through. People like Corey and Mad Hatter Industries are companies that are setting the foundation for men and women for understanding mental health, how to deal with it, and how not to give up. The reason why I did this video is because somebody gave me a second chance. And if somebody watching this will think about their decisions and not take their life, may give them a second chance.